Welcome to the realm of the paranormal. If you crave spine-tingling tales and encounters with the unknown, then Paranormal M is your go-to channel. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Story number 1. White Shadows versus Black Shadows. In the midst of June, a time when the vibrant hues of summer painted the world with warmth and vitality, I embarked on a new chapter of my life by moving into a splendid apartment. Nestled within the heart of a bustling city, this abode was a relatively recent addition to the urban landscape, having been constructed in the year of 2018. The promise of modernity and comfort enticed me, as I eagerly embraced the prospect of a fresh start in this pristine dwelling. However, as days turned into weeks and weeks transformed into months, peculiar occurrences began to transpire, shrouding my once idyllic sanctuary in an enigmatic veil of mystique. It all commenced with the fleeting glimpses of a spectral phenomenon, a white mist or an ethereal cloud of thick smoke, ever so fleeting, appearing as the periphery of my vision. Intrigued yet perturbed, I found myself compelled to unravel the enigma that permeated my newfound dwelling. Allow me to paint a vivid picture of the layout within my apartment, for it is crucial to comprehend the peculiar nature of these apparitions. As I recline upon my plush couch, engaged in moments of respite and reflection, my gaze naturally wanders towards the left, encompassing both the kitchen and the front hallway. It is precisely within these domains that the curious spectacle unfurls itself. Whenever my eyes unwittingly catch a glimpse of the smoky haze, it tends to manifest its ethereal presence either above the pristine expanse of the kitchen sink or directly before the majestic front door. Now, I must confess that my encounters with the supernatural realm have been varied, as I've often come face to face with the enigmatic silhouette of a dark shadow. However, such manifestations have been relegated to the distant corners of my memory, confined to dwellings far removed from the confines of this particular apartment. Consequently, the arrival of these otherworldly wisps, resembling plumes of smoke, evoked an overwhelming curiosity that demanded answers. I yearned to discern the fundamental distinctions between these specters, pondering their inherent meanings and the nature of their manifestation in a seemingly innocuous form akin to smoke. At first, I attributed these spectral visitations to the whims of my own perception, dismissing them as mere figments of an overactive imagination. Yet my skepticism was shattered when just 20 minutes prior to the present moment, I once again bore witness to the ethereal phenomenon. Determined to unravel the truth, I turned to my beloved fiancé, a trusted confidant who shared the sanctity of this dwelling with me. Casting aside any trepidation that had held me back prior, I inquired if they, too, had been privy to the elusive smoke that seemed to dance within our apartment's realm. Their response was both shocking and intriguing. My fiancée, with a subtle mix of surprise and intrigue dancing within her eyes, revealed that they, too, had glimpsed the swirling tendrils of the spectral smoke. However, they had remained silent, failing to utter a single word regarding this ethereal occurrence. In fact, it appeared that the bathroom was the chosen domain for these manifestations, as my beloved partner divulged that they had been born to witness the enigmatic smoke on several occasions during their tenure within this shared space. This revelation ignited within me a fervor for discovery, as I combined experiences, elevated the mysterious nature of our apartment to an even higher plane. Together we embarked on a journey to understand the inexplicable, fervently scouring the annals of history and consulting the wisdom of various esoteric sources in an effort to unlock the secrets concealed within these spectral apparitions. As we delved deeper into our research, a fascinating theory emerged. These ethereal wisps of smoke might indeed be a manifestation of spiritual energy, lingering remnants of the unseen realm, interwoven with our physical existence. We came to realize that such apparitions, be they black shadows or ethereal smoke, were not merely random or coincidental occurrences, Rather, they carried profound significances, often serving as conduits for communication from the spiritual realm. Armed with this, we began to pay closer attention to the subtle nuances surrounding these enigmatic visitations. We meticulously documented every sighting, noting the time, location, and any peculiar circumstances that accompanied each encounter. Over time, patterns emerged, weaving a tapestry of symbolism and meaning that offered glimpses into the unseen dimensions intertwining with our own. Through our tireless efforts and countless conversations, we discovered that the appearance of the smoky haze over the sink in the kitchen often coincided with moments of introspection and contemplation. It seemed to serve as a gentle reminder to nourish our souls and tend to the depths of our being, urging us to embrace the spiritual aspects of our existence amidst the daily tumult of life. Conversely, when the spectral smoke materialized before the front door, it signified the imminent arrival of new opportunities and ventures, beckoning us to seize the moment and step bravely into uncharted territories. The apparitions in the bathroom, observed by my fiancé, carried a sense of cleansing and renewal, encouraging personal growth and the shedding of old habits or stagnant energies. As we immersed ourselves in this otherworldly exploration, our bond as a couple grew stronger. Together, we navigated the ethereal currents of our apartment, armed with a newfound reverence for the unseen forces that subtly influenced our lives. We embraced the unknown, finding solace and fascination in the mysteries that unfolded within the walls of our humble abode. In the end, our journey through the realms of the supernatural within our apartment became a testament to the boundless wonders that lie just beyond the threshold of our understanding. It taught us to embrace the beauty of uncertainty, to revel in the enigmatic dance of shadows and smoke, and to cherish the unity that transcends the veil between the seen and unseen. And so, my dear listener, I invite you to embark on our own voyage of discovery. Open your eyes to the subtleties that surround you, for within the ordinary lies the extraordinary, and within the mundane resides the magical. May you find courage to explore the realms beyond, to seek answers in the whispers of smoke and dances of shadows, and to uncover the profound meaning that dwells within the unseen corners of your existence. Story number 2. Friendly spirit or something else? Let me take you back to Valentine's Day in the year of 2010, a time when I was just an innocent 11-year-old kid. The day holds a special place in my heart because it was when my dad bestowed upon me a delightful puppy plushie, complete with a vibrant red ribbon and a tiny felt heart that proudly proclaimed, "I love you," in bold capital letters. Little did I know that this seemingly innocent gift would lead to a series of inexplicable events that would forever leave a mark on my memory. It was a chilling evening, and my parents had decided to venture out into the local grocery store to gather supplies for our dinner. Unfortunately, I was unable to join them on this outing as I had succumbed to a fever. Determined to make me feel better, my parents left me at home with the promise of returning soon. I obediently took my prescribed medicine and reluctantly retreated back to the comfort of my bed, the puppy plushie clutched tightly in my feverish hands. Before succumbing to sleep's embrace, I distinctly remember placing the adorable dog plushie on the kitchen table. With a heavy head and a body weakened by illness, I drifted off into a restless slumber. It was only a couple of hours later that I was roused from the uneasy sleep by the sound of my parents returning home. However, what awaited me was a perplexing sight that defied all logical explanation. There, sitting next to my head on the bed, was the very same puppy plushie that I had left on the kitchen table. Confused clouded my fevered mind as I pondered how it had made its way from the table to my bedside. My bedroom door stood wide open, a silent witness to this eerie phenomenon. It was evident that my parents couldn't have been the culprits behind this mysterious occurrence, since they had departed before I had even retired for the night. In fact, They had unlocked the front door as I stumbled into the living room, utterly bewildered by the inexplicable chain of events. You see, our house had always been a hotbed of unexplained activity. It seemed to harbor not just one, but two distinct entities. One, a spectral figure that roamed our residence, taking the form of a man with a face that remained forever blurred and indistinguishable. I had encountered this ethereal presence on numerous occasions, its ghostly appearance sending shivers down my spine. However, this particular incident involving the displaced plushie presented a new enigma altogether. The second entity, although never seen with my own eyes, made its presence felt continuously, particularly within the confines of my own room. It was as if a dark, hunched figure lurked in the shadows, observing my every move from behind furniture and around corners. Following the inexplicable relocation of the puppy plushie, this unseen force seemed to intensify its presence, casting an ominous aura over my personal space. The weight of these bizarre occurrences led me to confide in a close friend, desperate for some semblance of understanding or reassurance. Upon recounting the tale, my friend offered a thought-provoking hypothesis. Could it be possible that the entity residing in my room was responsible for the peculiar incident involving the plushie? After all, following that unnerving event, my life took a sinister turn. I began to witness a sinister dark figure perpetually hunched over, lurking in the periphery of my vision. It seemed to revel in tormenting me, revealing itself from behind furniture and sulking around corners, a constant source of unease. As I reflect upon these inexplicable events from my childhood, I am left with a lingering sense of wonder and trepidation. The true nature of the entities that inhabited our home and their motivations remain a mystery to this day. Perhaps there are forces at play in this world that defy our understanding, lurking just beyond the veil of our perception. Or maybe, just maybe, the power of imagination and the potency of childhood fears can give rise to supernatural experiences that haunt us long into adulthood. Regardless, the memory of that Valentine's Day in 2010 will forever be etched in my mind, serving as a reminder that sometimes the inexplicable forces that shape our lives are the very ones that leave us questioning our reality. Story number 3. A true paranormal Jinn experience. Allow me to share a captivating story that's resonated with me over the years. Although I did not personally experience this tale, it was recounted to me by a dear family friend. This individual happens to be Muslim, and within the Islamic faith, there exists a belief in supernatural entities, some of which are considered benevolent, while others are regarded as malevolent. You may have encountered a similar topic while watching the popular TV show Supernatural. Now, as I should be focusing on my studies, I find myself unable to resist pondering this intriguing story. And I believe it's worth recounting to you. So sit back and enjoy the following narrative that has remained etched into my memory. It all commenced in the year 2012 when my family friend's 2 children were in their tender years. Let's refer to the mother as Sally, her elder daughter as Emma, and her youngest son as Zach. They resided in a quaint English cottage, and up until then, nothing out of the ordinary had ever occurred within their cozy abode. The house had no dark history to speak of, so when peculiar events unfolded, it was truly startling. Sally's husband often traveled abroad for business, leaving his wife and children behind. It was not the first time Sally and the kids found themselves in such a situation. They had managed perfectly fine during the previous trips. However, on this particular occasion, something inexplicable transpired. While engaged in her usual household chores, Sally stumbled upon some loose change. Initially, she thought nothing of it, as misplacing a few coins is not particularly uncommon. However, soon Emma and Zach both began discovering loose change everywhere, which excited them greatly as they could use it to indulge in sweets and chocolates. Oddly enough, they soon stumbled upon more substantial sums of money, such as $50 and $20 notes. Sally knew that she hadn't left that kind of money lying around, which raised her concern. In a bid to address the situation, she contacted her husband, but he vehemently denied any involvement. Feeling a sense of unease, Sally decided to collect all the money and dispose of it, convinced that something was amiss. After this incident, the appearance of mysterious money ceased, and thus she dismissed it from her mind. However, a few days later, even more perplexing occurrences began to unfold. For instance, while Sally was engrossed in her prayers downstairs, her 2 children would be attending school. Upon concluding her prayers and descending the stairs, Sally would invariably find the prayer mat unfolded and placed in a different position. She began questioning her sanity as this inexplicable event repeated itself multiple times. Another incident involved Emma, who was engrossed in playing video games, only to find her game missing upon her return from fetching something. Initially suspecting her mischievous brother, she soon realized he was fast asleep upstairs. Such inexplicable phenomena continued to manifest around the house. Then one fateful night at the stroke of 2 a.m., Sally awoke to an alarming sight. A short black figure stood beside her bed, slowly clapping and wearing an eerie smile. Overwhelmed by terror, Sally let out a blood-curdling scream, causing the figure to vanish into the darkness. Seeking solace, she rushed to her children's room, ensuring their safety. The following day, she wasted no time in reaching out to Ayman, a prominent figure in the mosque who holds a position of leadership and knowledge within the Islamic community there. Sally recounted her harrowing experience, explaining the ongoing encounters with the supernatural. Ayman, well versed in such matters, suggested that Sally recite a specific surah, a verse from the Quran, in the presence of the entity if she ever came face to face with it again. Following the Ayman's advice, Sally decided that she and her children would spend the night together in the living room, creating a mini sleepover experience. Yet the eerie encounters persisted. Once more, Sally found herself awakened in the dead of night, only to be confronted by the enigmatic figure. Urging her children to recite the designated surah, she was taken aback when they were inexplicably unable to utter a single word. It was as though an unseen force had robbed them of their ability to speak. The mysterious figure continued to clap and smile, but eventually vanished into the murky darkness. Overwhelmed by these unnerving events, Sally confided in her husband and Ayman, revealing the full extent of the encounters. Her husband, deeply concerned, made an arrangement to return home, determined to support his family in navigating this disturbing situation. Meanwhile, the Ayman paid a visit to the house, assuring Sally that a potent entity was indeed present, but emphasizing that there was no cause for alarm. Seeking solace and a fresh start, Sally made the decision to relocate, believing that a change of scenery would free them from these disconcerting manifestations. After moving out, the family never experienced anything remotely similar, but Sally was left scarred by the experience, developing severe anxiety and an aversion to being alone at home. Now, years have passed, and Sally's children have grown into young adults. Though they were too young to recall the events that transpired, Emma, the elder of the two, does remain vague memories of paranormal occurrences within the house. However, she chooses not to delve into those memories, preferring to leave them behind as she finds the recollection unsettling. In conclusion, this tale serves as a poignant reminder of the inexplicable phenomenon that can occur in our lives, leaving lasting impressions and shaping our perception of the world around us. It underscores the importance of seeking solace and guidance when faced with the unknown, and the power of faith and spirituality in overcoming the most daunting of challenges. May we find comfort and strength in the face of the unexplained, for it is through these experiences that we truly come to appreciate the mysteries that lie beyond the veil of our understanding. Story number 4. I saw my dead friend. Completely lucid, fully conscious, I found myself standing beside my door, and there he was, head lowered in a grim posture. It was only when he lifted his gaze that I realized it was him, recognizable by his distinctive silhouette. He was shrouded entirely in darkness, with piercing yellow eyes that seemed to emit an otherworldly glow, reminiscent of a radiant starburst. A haunting sight, indeed. Recently, a few weeks ago, I had another encounter with him. This time, he materialized before me as a complete apparition, though slightly blurred around the edges. He walked through the living room, his attention solely fixed on me. It was an unsettling experience, witnessing his ethereal presence so vividly. The strange thing is that his influence lingers in my life every single day. Whether I'm drifting off into slumber or awakening to the next day, his spectral essence trails behind me like a shadow. There's an unexplainable connection that binds us, and it becomes particularly pronounced during moments of sadness or anxiety. It's as if he assumes a protective role, drawing closer and enveloping me in his presence, amplifying his force. Deep within me, a curiosity begins to stir. I feel an innate desire to establish a stronger connection with him, to communicate beyond the bounds of our spectral encounters. It's not just the sense that he's watching over me, but an intuitive understanding that he yearns to convey something of importance, something that weighs heavily on his ethereal existence. His silent messages beckon me, enticing my soul to delve into the realms of the unknown. Perhaps there's a story untold, a message of guidance or solace awaiting revelation. In the depths of my being, I feel a profound need to reach out and establish a bridge between our worlds, to explore the dimensions that separate the living from the departed. Every day as the sun rises and sets, as the ebb and flow of life continues its eternal dance, I find myself increasingly drawn to the mysteries that surround him. The allure of deciphering his purpose, his intentions, has become an inescapable pull, a quest that consumes my thoughts and occupies my waking hours. This enigmatic presence, this spectral guardian, holds the potential to unlock secrets beyond our comprehension. His very existence challenges the boundaries of the tangible world, beckoning me to embrace the enigma and unravel the threads that connect us. Through the veil that separates the living from the ethereal, I yearn to embark on a journey of discovery, to transcend the limits of human perception and unearth the truths that lay hidden. With each passing day, my longing to contact him intensifies, fueled by profound belief that our connection extends beyond the realms of the physical. It's a connection that transcends mortality, defying the constraints of time and space. His presence resonates within me, intertwining our spirits and urging me to venture further into the unknown, where answers and enlightenment may wait. There is a whisper in my soul, a whispered invitation to explore the realm of the supernatural. It's an invitation to unlock the secrets held within the glowing yellow eyes of this mysterious apparition, to delve deeper into the mysteries of existence and uncover the truths that lie dormant. While the world around me may perceive him as an eerie specter, I sense his protective aura, a guardian spirit guiding me through life's turbulent tides. It is a bond that transcends the limitations of the mortal realm, an ethereal companionship that imbues my existence with a profound sense of purpose. As I think, I strive to decipher the cryptic messages. I yearn to unravel this enigma, to unravel the whispers that linger in the ether, and to decode the language of the beyond. It's a quest that demands courage, curiosity, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of interdimensional connection. In this profound union of the living and the dead, I embark on a voyage of self-discovery and enlightenment. With every breath, I inhale the essence of the unknown, embracing the enigma that manifests before me. Through the blurred boundaries of the ethereal, I reach out, ready to unlock the secrets whispered by the spectral guardian who has chosen to reveal himself to me. For in the depths of his luminous yellow gaze, I perceived the yearning for communion, the desire to impart wisdom that transcends mortal understanding. It is an invitation to explore the uncharted territories of existence, to bridge the gap between the corporeal and the intangible, and to uncover the profound truths that await our joint exploration. Story number 5. Strange happening in the middle of the night. It was a typical evening as my wife and I put our kids to bed, around 9:30 p.m. We followed our usual routine, settling into bed ourselves between 10:30 and 11. However, on this particular night, something extraordinary happened that left me both bewildered and intrigued. As we lay side by side in a spooning position on the mattress, I realized that our sleeping posture was different from our usual arrangement. It was a result of me washing my hair before bed, as I wanted my dreadlocks to hang to the side and allow any excess water to drain off. Little did I know that this seemingly inconsequential decision would play a role in the events that unfolded. Sometime during the night, in a state of half-sleep or semi-consciousness, I perceived our bedroom door opening slowly. My drowsy mind registered the movement, but I quickly drifted back into slumber. However, soon after, I felt a set of tiny hands clasping my own, playing with my fingers and palms, just as my children would do. Initially, I entertained the thought that it might be my 9-year-old son seeking comfort, but the likelihood seemed remote. Neither of my kids ever ventured into our room. They always stayed in their own. Exhausted and lacking full cognitive capacity, I dismissed it as a fleeting imagination and succumbed to sleep once more. But then something inexplicable occurred. I became aware of a pulsating force on my back, accompanied by a gentle buzzing in both my ears. This peculiar sensation nudged me to partially open my eyes, and to my astonishment, I beheld a mesmerizing display of colorful lights. Squinting against the overwhelming brightness, I could discern the shifting hues and patterns akin to the effects of a hallucinogenic experience. Allow me to provide some context. I am not a consumer of any substances, whether prescription drugs, street narcotics, or recreational enhancers. The last drink I had was a simple combination of Coke and whiskey, which I indulged in, on the previous weekend. Thus, any explanation rooted in substance-induced hallucinations was implausible. The duration of the luminous display eluded my perception. It wasn't akin to a typical episode of sleep paralysis, where anxiety and a sense of entrapment often accompany the ordeal. Strangely, I did not experience any fear or apprehension. Instead, I found myself in a state of curious observation, as if witnessing a phenomenon beyond the boundaries of ordinary existence. Shortly after these inexplicable events, my wife's voice pierced the silence. "Who opened our door?" she questioned, her tone tinged with perplexity. We both pondered how the door could have opened without one of us turning the doorknob. The mystery deepened. As the alarms blared at 6 a.m., signaling the start of a new day, our consciousness gradually returned. It was time to rouse our children from their slumber, prepare their lunches, and assist them in getting dressed. During the morning rush, I confided in my wife about the peculiar occurrences I had experienced during the night. Her eyes widened, reflecting a mix of surprise and intrigue as she revealed her own encounter. She had sensed movement on the bed, a weight akin to that of our cat, despite our deliberate efforts to keep the door shut and the feline out of our sleeping quarters. Seeking further clarity, I decided to casually inquire about the children's sleep, in hopes that one of them might confess to entering our room, potentially explaining the sensations of the hands touching and the weight on the bed. I posed the question. Their response was unanimous. They had slept soundly and had not ventured beyond the confines of their own rooms. It was worth mentioning that neither of us had a history of sleepwalking or engaging in similar nocturnal escapades. Deeply puzzled by these events, I resolved to gather myself and prepare for the task of driving the kids to school. As I stood before the bathroom mirror, toothbrush in hand, I caught a glimpse of my reflection. Startled, I found myself captivated by the vacant emptiness in my eyes. The sight disturbed me to such an extent that I averted my gaze, unable to withstand the disconcerting scrutiny any longer. Perhaps I'd inadvertently psyched myself out, but the disquieting image lingered in my mind, shrouded in an enigmatic aura. And so my tale concludes. I share this account in the hopes of receiving various perspectives, ranging from light-hearted humor to profound contemplation, or spiritual interpretations. The events of that night were undeniably significant, leaving an indelible mark on my consciousness. I felt compelled to share this extraordinary occurrence, yearning for insight and understanding in the face of the inexplicable. Story number 6. Why do paranormal things seem to happen at night 99% of the time? I have had numerous personal experiences throughout my life that defy explanation based on my knowledge of science. Strangely enough, each of these incidents occurred after 11 p.m., but more often than not, it was around the eerie hours of 2 or 3 a.m. It is during these late-night moments that inexplicable occurrences seem to take place, leaving me perplexed and searching for answers. One particular incident stands out among all the rest, as it involved the sighting of an apparition. The entity I witnessed was unlike anything I'd ever encountered before. It manifested as a peculiar 2D mirage, yet possessed 3-dimensional facial features. It seemed to be crafted from a subtle absence of light, as if some invisible force, perhaps a hidden brow line or cheekbone, was casting shadows that formed the distinct contours of a face upon the mirage. Astonishingly, this unnerving encounter took place in broad daylight within the confines of my childhood bedroom. Interestingly, all the other significant experiences I had leading up to my 18th birthday were predominantly nocturnal in nature, moving furniture without any logical explanation, staples mysteriously thrown at me, and my sister from the depths of darkness, and eerie footsteps echoing through empty halls were the haunting hallmarks of these encounters. It seemed as though the night held a profound significance in attracting these inexplicable phenomena. In my quest for understanding, I've come across the notion of the witching hour. It is a concept that many are familiar with, though its origins and deeper meaning remain elusive to me. This is where I seek the diverse perspectives and explanations that are different. My hope is that by exploring various viewpoints, I can strengthen my knowledge and gain a deeper understanding of the events that have indelibly shaped my life. Discovering this community has been an incredible source of solace for me. To find others who have encountered similar inexplicable phenomenon is beyond comforting. It is a revelation. It has instilled in me a sense of belonging and validation, knowing that I'm not alone in grappling with these perplexing experiences. In fact, the overwhelming support and shared experiences have motivated me to delve even further into this enigmatic realm. As a means of catharsis, I've begun creating videos documenting and sharing my personal stories. There's an indescribable satisfaction that comes from articulating the bizarre occurrences that have befallen me. It is a profound release, and even more so when others can relate to experiences that I once believed to be isolated and singular. In conclusion, I eagerly anticipate the collective wisdom and diverse insights that this community can offer. Each story shared, every perspective explored, contributes to the ever-growing tapestry of knowledge surrounding these unexplained events. It is through these shared narratives and the collective understanding we cultivate that we can begin to shed light on the mysteries that have transformed me as an individual. Story number 7. Shadow figures in my room. Around 15 years ago, during my teenage years, I experienced something quite unsettling. Every night just before I went to bed, like clockwork, a peculiar occurrence would take place. At the same time each night, I would catch sight of a mysterious shadow. Its presence would manifest itself initially in the corner of my room, only to gradually advance toward the foot of my bed. This shadow figure was remarkably tall and slender, its appearance sending shivers down my spine each time. Strangely enough, this enigmatic entity always evoked the same inexplicable sensation within. Whenever the shadow figure materialized, an indescribable force seemed to take control of my entire being, leaving me utterly motionless and paralyzed. I found myself lying there, trapped and unable to move a muscle, as if I were under its spell. What made it even more puzzling was the fact that this entity lacked any discernible facial features. It was nothing more than a mere outline of a person. Half of me rationalized that it was just an ordinary shadow figure, as I had come to know that such entities do exist. Yet the other half of my mind was filled with lingering doubts and curiosity, as this entity seemed to exert an undeniable influence over my thoughts, leaving me in a state of complete mental captivity. Adding to the mystery, each time the shadow figure appeared, an inexplicable drop in temperature would permeate my room. It was as if an icy breath whispered through the air, chilling me to the bone. This chilling phenomenon only served to intensify the sense of unease and fascination that enveloped my nightly encounters with the shadow figure. Reflecting on those haunting nights from my past, I cannot help but wonder about the true nature of this ethereal presence. Was it indeed a mere shadow figure, a product of my imagination, and the tricks that darkness can play on one's mind? Or could it have been something more, something beyond the boundaries of our understanding? The questions linger, unanswered, in the depths of my memory, serving as a constant reminder of this enigmatic force that exists in our world, often hidden in the shadows, waiting to reveal their mysteries to those brave enough to seek the truth. Story number 8. Late night voice outside in our yard. It was another one of those routine weekends when my step-siblings, as they often did, came over to spend time with us. We were accustomed to their regular visits, and this time was no different. However, something peculiar occurred on that particular night, a series of events that would forever linger in my mind. As the night wore on, I found myself roused from slumber, compelled to make a trip to the bathroom. Reluctantly, I left the warmth of my bed and made my way down the hallway. The house was quiet, save for the occasional creaking of floorboards beneath my feet. After attending to my needs, I decided to return to the comfort of my bed and resume my uninterrupted sleep. With summer in full swing, I had left my window ajar, allowing a gentle breeze to permeate my room. As I nestled myself back underneath the covers, my mind began drifting into the realm of dreams. But just as I was about to slip into blissful slumber, a faint whisper pierced through the stillness of the night, beckoning my attention. "Help me," the voice pleaded, barely audible but impossible to ignore. Curiosity overwhelmed me, and I found myself compelled to investigate the source of this mysterious cry. After all, we lived in the countryside, far removed from the bustling noise of the city. Unless someone had trespassed onto our property, such sounds shouldn't have reached my ears. Driven by an inexplicable urge, I rose from the bed once more to approach the open window. I strained my senses, hoping to catch another hint of the distressing plea. Moments later, it came again, louder this time, seemingly originating from the vicinity of our garage. It was a chilling invocation that sent chills cascading down my spine. The voice repeated itself twice more, each time growing slightly more desperate. Uncertainty gnawed at me as I grappled with the decision of whether to venture out into the night or dismiss it as a mere figment of my imagination. Ultimately, I opted to close the window, shutting out the eerie whispers, and convinced myself that it was nothing more than a product of my tired mind. Just as I settled back into bed, ready to surrender to the embrace of sleep, an abrupt and blood-curdling scream shattered the tranquility of the house. It reverberated through the corridors, awaking every occupant from their peaceful slumber. My heart raced and a surge of adrenaline surged through my veins as I instinctively leaped out of my bed. Following the source of the commotion, we all congregated outside my little stepsister's room. Her terror-stricken face told a tale of the unimaginable. She recounted how she had been roused from her sleep by the distinct sound of someone or something attempting to manipulate the doorknob, desperately trying to gain entry into her sanctuary. The revelation struck fear into my heart, for my own room was situated closest to the door in question. Yet, strangely, I had not heard the telltale click of the doorknob being manipulated. Steph, visibly shaken, admitted that she had only heard the eerie jingling sound and the subsequent panic that had consumed her. The air became heavy with a mix of anxiety, and we contemplated the chilling events that had unfolded throughout the night. Thoughts raced through our minds, wondering who or what could be lurking outside. Attempting to breach our haven for safety, the possibility of an intruder sent shivers, conjuring images of the worst possible scenarios. Together we mustered our courage and decided to thoroughly inspect the premises. With trepidation, we tiptoed through the dimly lit hallways, wielding a mix of household objects to use as makeshift weapons. Every creak of the floorboards heightened our senses, amplifying the tension that hung in the air like an ominous fog. Our search proved fruitless, as no trace of an intruder could be found. The house remained as it was, silent and seemingly undisturbed. We questioned our own sanity, doubting the authenticity of the events that had unfolded. Could it all have been a vivid nightmare playing tricks on our vulnerable minds? As dawn broke, casting its gentle rays through the windows, we collectively breathed a sigh of relief. The ordeal had passed, leaving behind a lingering unease that would take time to dissipate. Though we may never fully comprehend the events of that fateful night, it served as a reminder of the fragility of our sense of security and the ever-present mysteries that can unravel even within the confines of our homes. From that night onward, the faint cry for help, the chilling jiggling of the doorknob, and the harrowing scream would forever be etched into our memories. They served as a haunting reminder that darkness can encroach upon the most seemingly tranquil settings, and that the veil between reality and the unknown is often thinner than we care to acknowledge. Story number 9. Just a story from my experiences. About 15 years ago, not too recent, but quite a while back, my memory comes to mind that I've been wanting to share with you. It was summertime, and our family always had this tradition of having a get-together before we embarked on our annual summer trip. The night before this particular gathering, something strange happened that I can still vividly recall. I remember drifting off to sleep in my bed, enveloped by the warmth of my sheets. Out of nowhere, in the dead of night, my eyes fluttered open, jolted awake by an abrupt noise. You see, the house we lived in at the time had quite a history, a charming yet old residence, brimming with stories of the past. And on that fateful night, the house decided to share one of its enigmatic tales with us. There I lay wide awake, listening intently to the eerie silence. Suddenly, a cacophony erupted from downstairs, resonating through the halls. It sounded as if someone was forcefully trying to kick down our front door. The noise was thunderous, accompanied by a bone-chilling thud and the shattering of glass. The sound was so alarming that it sent shivers down my spine, instantly triggering a surge of panic. Without wasting a moment, I called out to my mother, whose room was just across the hall. However, it took her a few groggy shouts to rouse her from her slumber. I found it peculiar because I was certain she must have heard the same terrifying commotion that had jolted me awake. Eventually she woke up, accompanied by my stepfather, and their initial annoyance at being disturbed in the middle of the night was apparent. In a trembling voice, I recounted what I unfounded. sharing the bone-chilling sounds that had disrupted the tranquility of the house. Yet to my surprise, they looked at me with a mixture of confusion and skepticism. They claimed not to have heard a thing. Perplexed, my mother and stepfather embarked on a thorough investigation, venturing downstairs to ensure the security of our home. As I anxiously awaited their return, I was instructed to go back to bed. However, the adrenaline coursing through my veins made it an impossible effort to drift off into peaceful slumber. So instead, I huddled beneath the safety of my covers, clutching them tightly as I contemplated the unsettling events of that night. Looking back, that house was undoubtedly the most active dwelling I'd ever experienced. But in truth, all the houses I've lived in had their fair share of peculiar occurrences. And so, my dear friend, that's the story of this mysterious night when I was awakened by what seemed to be an attempted intrusion, a tale intertwined with the fascinating history of the house that held countless secrets within its aged walls. It is memories like these that remind us of the enigmatic nature of our surroundings and the mysteries that often lie hidden, waiting to be unraveled. Story number 10. Hospital Visit. When I reached the remarkable milestone of being 2 years seizure-free, my doctors recommended that I undergo a test known as an epilepsy monitoring unit. The concept behind it was rather intriguing. I would spend a total of 5 days and nights within the confines of the hospital, ceasing the intake of my medication and intentionally depriving myself of sleep. The objective was to monitor my brain activity closely during this period, hoping to gain valuable insights into my condition. Luckily, my father accompanied me throughout this challenging process, providing unwavering support and comfort. The hospital staff assured us that we could bring along any personal items that would make our stay more comfortable, and they made sure to emphasize that a nurse call button was readily available should I require any assistance. As I settled into the unfamiliar hospital room, something peculiar began to transpire. Although I couldn't perceive her with my physical eyes, I sensed the presence of a ghostly figure. It was as if I could both feel and visualize her ethereal form. She appeared to be a young nurse, dressed in a white uniform, consisted of a button-up blouse and a skirt. What struck me as particularly unusual was her hat, a square-shaped cap adorned with a red cross, reminiscent of a bygone era. I pondered the time period from which she originated, perplexed by her youthful appearance and her lingering presence within the hospital room. Despite my confusion, this ghostly nurse would make occasional visits, diligently tending to her duties. She would check on me, inquiring about my well-being and offer assistance whenever needed. Although I found the whole situation somewhat absurd, to her, these interactions were undoubtedly genuine. There was an unmistakable melancholy that emanated from her presence. Over time, I observed her actions. I began to form a hypothesis. It seemed that there was another character in her spectral realm, a young boy, aged between 5 and 8, whom she attended within the confines of this very room. It became increasingly apparent to me that she had been unable to save this child's life, and perhaps this unfortunate circumstance was the reason she remained tethered to this space. The weight of her past seemed to burden her spirit, rendering her a compassionate but sorrowful entity. One fateful night as the clock struck 2 a.m., fate intervened, and I found myself thrust into the throes of a seizure. The experience remains a hazy memory, with only fragments of consciousness and fragmented images lingering in my mind. However, I distinctly recall awakening from the seizure's clutches, my eyes meeting the worried gaze of my father. By my side stood an physical nurse, holding an oxygen mask, her presence a tangible reminder of the gravity of the situation. Once she ensured that I was stable and on a path to recovery, she quietly exited the room, leaving my father and me to process the enormity of the events that had unfolded. It was at this moment that my father finally revealed the harrowing truth. He had witnessed my heart ceasing to beat. Gripping me tightly in his arms, he recounted the panic that he felt. relentlessly pressing the nurse call button, desperately seeking help as I teetered on the precipice of life and death. The fear of losing me engulfed him entirely, leaving an indelible mark on his soul. He vowed never to allow anyone else to experience the sheer terror that he had endured during those precarious moments. In the aftermath of this ordeal, I struggled to fully comprehend the magnitude of what had occurred. The shock and gratitude mingled within me, leaving little room for coherent thoughts. However, as time elapsed, a realization dawned upon me, one that brought both solace and a bittersweet understanding. I noticed that the ghostly nurse, whose presence had been a constant companion throughout my time in the hospital, had vanished without a trace. She had seemingly departed from my realm of existence since that crucial moment when my heart had stopped beating. It became clear to me that although she had been unable to save her former patient's life, she had undoubtedly played a vital role in saving mine. In that pivotal moment, her ethereal presence had intertwined with the physical world, ensuring that I remained among the living. Having fulfilled her purpose, she could finally find peace, resting after what seemed like an eternity of wandering and unfulfilled responsibilities. This poignant experience left an indelible mark on my journey, forever etched in the tapestry of my memories. The epilepsy monitoring unit test, fraught with challenges and uncertainties, had brought forth an unexpected supernatural encounter. Through the presence of this ghostly nurse, I witnessed the complexities of life and death converge in a remarkable fashion. It served as a poignant reminder of the interconnectedness of our existence and the enduring impact that we can have on one another, even across the boundaries of time and realms. My gratitude for that spectral guardian remains immeasurable, forever intertwined with the profound relief of knowing that I had been granted a second chance at life. Story number 11. Doll. So let me start by telling you about the intriguing doll cabinet that resides in my room. It holds a collection of dolls, a gift from my beloved grandmother. It was just another typical night during the weekend, and I decided to explore the contents of the cabinet. Nestled among the dolls were some old cameras, adding a touch of vintage charm to the collection. Curiosity got the better of me, and I reached for one of the cameras, carefully inspecting it to ensure I hadn't accumulated too much dust over time. As I examined the camera, I noticed a peculiar sight. A few strands of vibrant orange doll hairs were delicately wrapped around the dial that spun on the device. It struck me as odd because the camera was positioned between two dolls, and there seemed to be no logical reason for the doll hair to be entangled in the camera's mechanism. Unperturbed by this mysterious occurrence, I gently removed the doll's hair from the camera and proceeded to open one side of the cabinet to investigate further. Once satisfied with my inspection, I returned the camera to its original position, ready to place it back where it had belonged. As I withdrew my hand, however, something inexplicable happened. The head of one of the dolls suddenly whipped over, as though someone had forcibly grabbed it and swiftly turned it in an eerie fashion. Taken aback by this spine-chilling sight, I hastily pulled my hand away and stood frozen by my desk, attempting to gather my thoughts and calm my racing heartbeat. Just when I thought the unsettling ordeal was over, a distinct knock resonated from within the cabinet. At that moment, I had reached my threshold of fear and decided I had endured enough for one night. I yearned to escape the unsettling atmosphere and sought refuge in my sister's room, hoping for a night of respite from the inexplicable events unfolding around me. It's important to note that the doll responsible for this disconcerting display was a porcelain doll, its head not easily movable by mere coincidence or contact. This fact only added to the sheer strangeness and inexplicability of the situation. It was a hair-raising experience that occurred precisely at midnight, amplifying the eerie ambiance and leaving me in a state of both fascination and panic. The night wore on as I found solace in my sister's room, seeking comfort in the presence of another person. Sleep eluded me as my mind raced with questions and possible explanations for the unsettling phenomena I had witnessed. Was it the restless spirit of a long-forgotten doll seeking attention? or perhaps some inexplicable force that defied logical comprehension. The hours ticked by slowly, each minute seemingly laden with the unexplainable weight. Dawn finally broke, and with that came a sense of relief, albeit tinged with lingering apprehension. As the daylight flooded the room, casting away the shadows of the night, I gathered the courage to return to my own room and confront the enigmatic doll cabinet. Taking a deep breath, I stepped back into the room that had been the stage for the bizarre occurrences of the previous night. As I approached the doll cabinet, a sense of unease washed over me, but determined to face whatever awaited me, I stood before the cabinet and gently opened its doors. To my surprise, the dolls stood motionless, as if frozen in time, their vacant gazes fixed upon a world beyond their glass enclosure. It seemed as though the events of the previous night had ceased, leaving no trace of the inexplicable happenings that had haunted my thoughts. With a mixture of relief and curiosity, I examined each doll closely, searching for any clues that might shed light on the peculiar incident. Yet, despite my thorough inspection, no answers presented themselves. The dolls appeared innocent and lifeless, devoid of any hidden secrets or signs of their nocturnal escapades. And so, dear listener, that is the tale of the doll cabinet in my room, which continues to captivate and perplex me to this very day. It's a haunting reminder that there are realms beyond our understanding, where the supernatural and the mundane intertwine, leaving us with more questions than answers. Story number 12, Shadow Figure. It was an ordinary summer day with the sun shining brightly and a hint of excitement in the air. My sister and I found ourselves engulfed in boredom, desperately seeking an adventure to break free from the monotony. As evening fell and we finished devouring our dinner, a spark of spontaneity ignited within us. We exchanged mischievous glances, silently agreeing on our plan for the evening, a joyous ride on our trusty four-wheeler. After a brief debate, we decided that we would take the reins first, and it would be me. Eagerly, I hopped onto the vehicle, the engine humming to life as I revved it up. The wind tousled my hair, and a surge of exhilaration coursed through my veins as we began our thrilling expedition. Our house served as the epicenter of this mini-adventure, the perfect arena for our escapade. Navigating the terrain, I skillfully maneuvered the four-wheeler, feeling the jolts and vibrations as we sped along. We darted around the corners, laughing and hollering with unrestrained joy. Everything seemed peaceful and ordinary until we approached a small tree standing about 5, maybe 6 feet away from a weathered old barn. As fate would have it, at that premises, my eyes caught sight of something peculiar. A hunched figure like a shadow in the dimming light bolted out of the barn. It moved with an eerie swiftness, disappearing into the vast expanse of the adjacent field. The sight sent a shiver down my spine, and I couldn't help but slow down, awestruck and bewildered by this unexpected apparition. Seeking reassurance, I turned to my sister, my voice filled with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. "Did you see that too?" I asked, my eyes wide with disbelief. Yet to my relief, she nodded vigorously, confirming that she too had witnessed the enigmatic figure darting across our path. We exchanged a glance, our hearts pounding in unison, realizing that this was not a figment of our imaginations, but a genuine encounter with the inexplicable. Uncertain of what to make of this spine-chilling incident, we knew that conveying our experience to our parents would be met with skepticism and disbelief. Silently, we shared an unspoken agreement, deciding to keep the encounter to ourselves, our secret to cherish. The four-wheeler was safely parked, its engine silenced, as we made our way back to the sanctuary of my sister's room. As we lay on her bed, adrenaline still coursing through our veins, we discussed the strange phenomenon that we had witnessed. The room was filled with hushed whispers, speculations, and theories about the mysterious figure and its origins. Hours slipped away, but our conversations continued, fueled by curiosity and a desire to unravel the inexplicable events of that fateful evening. We debated the possibilities, conjuring tales of ghosts, time travelers, and elusive creatures that lurked within the barn's depths. Each hypothesis spawned new questions, opening doors to uncharted territories of the supernatural. We delved into folklore and urban legends, drawing parallels to our own eerie encounter, attempting to decipher its hidden meaning. As the night wore on, fatigue finally caught up with us, and we succumbed to sleep. Dreams mingled with reality, and our minds embarked on fantastical journeys, traversing dimensions beyond our comprehension. The events of that summer day continued to haunt our thoughts, leaving an indelible mark on our young souls. Days turned into weeks, and weeks transformed into months, yet the memory of that peculiar encounter never faded. We matured, our perspectives widened, but the mystery remained unsolved. To this day, the tale of that shadowy figure and the exhilarating ride on the four-wheeler serves as a constant reminder of the inexplicable wonders that lie hidden beneath the surface of our ordinary lives. Story number 13, Creature. So let me begin by recounting the unsettling experience that unfolded in the confines of my own bedroom. It all started when I retired for the night, seeking solace in the embrace of sleep. However, an inexplicable sensation of being watched plagued my senses, casting a veil of unease over my tranquil sanctuary. As a remedy to my restless state, I resorted to my usual course of action. I reached for my phone and activated its flashlight, allowing its beam to pierce through the darkness that shrouded my room. And there, lurking by the threshold of my closet, stood a creature unlike anything I had ever encountered before. It possessed a gaunt frame, characterized by elongated limbs that seemed to defy the natural proportions of a human body. Its fingers stretched out, elongated and ghastly, while its limbs extended into an otherworldly length. The creature's skin resembled delicate porcelain, lending an eerie pallor to its existence. Its eyes, reflective and piercing, bore into my very soul, while its emaciated form seemed to lack any semblance of muscular tissue. Its skin draped loosely over the stark prominence of its skeletal structure. Immobile and unyielding, it maintained a crouched position, fixating its gaze upon me without the slightest hint of movement. It did not blink, nor did it display any discernible signs of respiration. Its unwavering stare unsettled me to the core, but in a desperate attempt to dismiss it as a figment of my imagination, I extinguished the beam of light. Yet when I summoned the courage to rekindle the illumination, the haunting creature remained rooted in its place, its piercing eyes still locked onto mine. Feeling an inexplicable blend of fear and curiosity, I turned over and succumbed to the beckoning call of slumber. I don't know how you could do that. To my dismay, the following night revealed a disconcerting recurrence. The creature had relocated itself, positioning itself just outside the confines of my closet, all the while casting an unrelenting gaze upon me. In addition, it had taken up a secondary position adjacent to the cabinet housing my collection of dolls. Its intentions remained shrouded in enigma, mirroring its previous vigil. I, however, chose to disregard its presence once more, allowing sleep to claim dominion over my consciousness. But the relentless observation that had plagued my nights began to wear down upon my sanity. It seemed apparent that this ethereal entity had developed a peculiar fixation with watching me during my slumber. Filled with the resolve to confront the intruder, I sought refuge in my sister's quarters, yearning for a sympathetic ear. I meticulously recounted the haunting encounters, describing the creature in vivid detail. As we engaged in this exchange, an inexplicable shift in the room's atmosphere occurred. The once comforting ambiance swiftly transformed into a maelstrom of wrathful energy emanating from beyond the confines of my sister's chamber. Our conversation abruptly halted, silenced by the oppressive aura that descended upon us. It was as if the malevolent force resented the notion of its secrets being laid bare. Despite the palpable tension, we chose to continue our dialogue, whispering our fears in hushed tones. It was a testament to the bond between siblings, united in our shared experience of the inexplicable. Eventually, our collective wariness prompted us to seek respite within the realms of dreams yet again, hoping to find solace in the sanctuary of sleep. The following day brought with it a glimmer of hope. My sister, motivated by her concern for my well-being, crafted a small protective pouch intended to ward off the supernatural entity that plagued my nights. Though initially skeptical of its efficiency, I graciously accepted her heartfelt gift, assuring her that its usage may not be necessary. As nightfall once again descended upon the world, a sense of trepidation took hold of my senses. I could feel the lingering presence of the creature, its spectral essence permeating the air I breathed. And then, driven by a mix of curiosity and desperation, I seized the pouch my sister had crafted, clutching it tightly. In that pivotal moment, the weight of the pouch of my grasp seemed to evoke a sliver of courage within me. Empowered by this newfound resolve, I embarked upon a quest to confront the enigmatic presence that had tormented me for nights on end. To my astonishment, the moment I clasped the pouch, the creature ceased its vigil. It vanished, dissipating into the ether, leaving behind an eerie stillness that seemed to echo with relief. The wards crafted with love and care by my sister had somehow succeeded in dispelling the otherworldly intruder that had invaded my nights. Since that fateful night, though, the creature hasn't returned. The pouch, now a precious keepsake, serves as a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the power of familial bonds. It is a testament to the mysterious forces that exist beyond our comprehension, forever reminding me of the inexplicable nature of our world. Story number 14. My grandpa came for a visit. The loss of my dear grandpa during the distressing pandemic brought immense sorrow upon our entire family. We were all grappling with the weight of grief, the heaviness of our hearts palpable in the air. However, a glimmer of hope penetrated the dark clouds that hung over us when we received the astonishing news that my grandpa's ethereal presence had paid us a visit. This extraordinary occurrence took place during the sacred Day of the Dead, a time when we honor and remember our departed loved ones. At the time, it was only my grandma and my cousin who remained at home, and when they became aware of my grandpa's spectral visitation, joy and excitement permeated the atmosphere. My grandma, who had been experiencing peculiar incidents all week, began hearing the distinctive sound of my grandpa's trusty walker. The rhythmic creaking reverberated throughout the house, as though he was searching for something, his ghostly footsteps echoing in the halls. Strangely enough, my cousin and grandma both heard these phantom sounds on that eventful day. Curiosity sparked within my cousin's eyes as he directed his gaze toward the sacred altar we had erected in honor of our ancestors. A realization struck him like a lightning bolt of understanding. He quickly surmised that the cherished portraits of his parents were absent from their designated place on the altar. Without hesitation, driven by filial devotion, my cousin resolved to retrieve the forgotten paintings of my grandpa's parents, which had been stowed away in the attic. A sense of urgency propelled him up the staircase, his footsteps echoing in harmony with the phantom walker sounds that had haunted our home. When my cousin triumphantly placed the long-lost painting upon the altar, a peculiar phenomenon ensued. The once unceasing sounds of the walker abruptly did in fact cease, as if by some supernatural intervention. It was as if my grandpa's spirit had found solace, satisfied that his own parents had been rightfully included in our heartfelt tribute. The atmosphere grew still, as if the ethereal realm had momentarily converged with our own. Overwhelmed with the profound mix of emotions, my grandma relayed the miraculous visitation to me. Tears of both sorrow and joy streamed down my face, for this otherworldly encounter brought immense solace and happiness to my grieving heart. Witnessing the profound impact of the spiritual connection and what it had on my grandma's well-being only intensified my gratitude for my grandpa's ghostly presence. It was an indescribable comfort, knowing that he had found a way to transcend the boundaries between life and death, to offer his love and support to the one that he cherished most. In retrospect, though, the significance of my grandpa's visit cannot be understated. It was a poignant reminder of the bonds we forged with our loved ones, especially as they transcended the physical realm. Their spirits endure, woven into the tapestry of our lives, leaving an indelible mark on our souls. My grandpa's ghostly presence during the sacred time of remembrance served as a powerful affirmation of the enduring love that exists even beyond the confines of mortality. So as I conclude this retelling of an extraordinary encounter, I sincerely hope that you found solace in this account. Although it may not have been a grand tale by conventional standards, its significance, laden with love and the eternal bonds of family, resonates deeply within me. May it serve as a gentle reminder that even in the face of loss, there is hope, and the spirits of our departed loved ones continue to guide us and watch over us, imparting their blessings from the ethereal realms they now inhabit.